The San Francisco 49ers have had the best roster in the NFL for the past couple seasons, and no, I don't think that's a hot take to anybody, but the one thing that has held them back is the quarterback position. They brought in Sam Darnold this past season, who since being a high draft pick by the New York Jets has bounced around from the Jets to the Panthers to now the San Francisco 49ers. Up a couple seasons ago for Trey Lance. Well, yes, only playing in Division II in college, showed tools that could translate to the NFL while he was at North Dakota, and he's just barely played due to injuries and just circumstances. Now to Mr. Relevant Brock Purdy. While being the last pick in the draft, no one's expecting much out of Brock Purdy out of Iowa State, but due to injuries to Trey Lance and Jimmy Garoppolo, was quickly thrown into the San Francisco 49ers' plans and helped lead them to an NFC championship, which saw him get hurt and saw the 49ers lose to the Philadelphia Eagles. Brock Purdy played really good football, so much so that he ended up top 3 in Rookie of the Year voting, even in limited games. But it did end up losing due to the limited amount of games. Brock Purdy did play a lot of good football for the 49ers, but I still think there are questions due to his injuries. And when you are a first-round pick like Trey Lance was, and you traded up that draft capital, not only is the front office, but ownership is going to want to see that guy play. And I also think it is telling that they brought in Sam Darnold and to a lesser degree brought in Brandon Allen. So they have 4 quarterbacks on their roster at the moment. And it's not like this is a rebuilding team where they can just put out different quarterbacks out there and just see which sticks and who puts the best film on tape. This is a team and an organization that has the best roster in the NFL, the best play caller in the NFL. And you just look everywhere and there are weapons. They traded for Christian McCaffrey last year at the deadline. You obviously have Debo, Brandon Ayuk, and George Kittle, and the best offensive lineman in the game in Trent Williams. The 49ers have a choice to make. If Brock Purdy truly is healthy and ready to go opening day, do you go with him? Do you go with the wild card and go with Trey Lance? Or do you shock the world and throw out Sam Darnold out there? This is a roster that is ready to win and has been ready to win for a couple seasons now, if they have made multiple NFC championships and a Super Bowl in the Kyle Shanahan era. Regardless of who's at quarterback, they will have multiple weapons and will be set up for success. Like I said, you have Debo, who is a just do-it-all offensive playmaker, George Kittle, who is the second best tight end in the sport. You got the left tackle in Trent Williams, and you got Brandon Ayuk, who is quickly becoming into his own deep threat receiver. You obviously have Christian McCaffrey, who is arguably the best back in the NFL, but you also have Elijah Mitchell in that backcourt as well, and I don't think people understand just how good of a complimentary running back that he is to Christian McCaffrey in that 49ers offense. The 49ers also have the best linebacker room in the league with Warner and Greenlaw, and that secondary also consists of Ward, Tayshaun Gibson, and arguably the best safety in the NFL and came into his own last year, Hufanga, who was an All-Pro last year in just his second season in the NFL and looks to only continue to be getting better. There is a reason that he gets compared to the great Troy Polamalu. One of the question marks on this 49ers defense, though, is Javon Kinlaw, who has largely been a disappointment since being drafted out of South Carolina. He did have his 5th-year option declined, so this is a make or break for him and his future with this 49ers organization. In that edge room, though, they do have Nick Bosa, who is consistently in the DPOY conversation and is at worst a top 3 edge in the NFL. I say all this to say whoever does win the job out of camp is set up for success. I do think the 49ers would like Trey Lance to win the job, as he's the one that they did give up the draft capital for. But if Brock Purdy ends up winning the job, he showed last year that he is a winner and will make the plays in the Kyle Shanahan offense. I do think the wild card in all this, though, is Sam Darnold. He was very touted coming out of USC. A lot of people still believe in him, I am included. We have nothing to really show for that in his NFL career, but you have to look at he's been with the dysfunctional Jets and the dysfunctional Carolina Panthers. Him getting to San Francisco and a part of a winning culture with a winning head coach in Kyle Shanahan, I think is good for him. And I think he fits that Kyle Shanahan offense perfect. I would not be surprised if all 3 quarterbacks do end up playing in the regular season, just because the NFL injuries do happen. You never want to see them happen, but they do happen. And obviously could be a game in a situation like this where a quarterback gets pulled and one gets thrown in. And I think the caveat here, and we've seen it last year with the new NFL rule where 3 quarterbacks are dressed, but the third quarterback cannot play unless both quarterbacks get hurt. I do think this is key, as we did see this last year with the San Francisco 49ers, and is a big part of why they only made it to the NFC Championship. and for them, for most teams, would be a successful season. But this team and this organization is looking to get back to the promised land and to get back to winning Lombardi trophies. Kyle Shanahan will obviously have his pick at who wins the job based on camp and preseason, and I do believe I know where he is going. I believe his pick will be Trey Lance, who just off a talent loan is the most talented out of the 3 quarterbacks. Trey Lance also, as I have stated, they traded up for, so that organization wants him to be the star. And if you just look at what George Kittle has said about him, is that he, in practice, just makes all the throws. He just hasn't played a lot of football the last couple seasons, and it's just been hurt. But I do believe Trey Lance will be the starter for the San Francisco 49ers in Week 1. Brock Purdy did play good football last year, but if it is close in camp, the edge is going to go to the guy that the organization gave up draft capital for and drafted. I do think this is make or break for Trey Lance, but I don't believe that this will be the end of Brock Purdy. Thank you guys for watching. Please leave a like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments, who do you think will be starting Week 1 for the San Francisco 49ers?